Hi there, I'm Joshua Finn from J&H Aerospace. This is the 2018-2019 Guru Engineering Tech Glider for Science Olympiad Elastic Launch Glider. This is not the focus of this video. Instead, we're talking about the 2019-2020 version. So what we're doing is doing kit reviews of all of the major manufacturers. Y'all seem to like when I did that earlier this year. This time we're doing it at the start of the season instead of late in it, because we can. So, things you should know. This information is probably, I could be wrong, but I think it's going to go dormant for a few years after this season, because gliders are cycling out for middle school. I don't think they're going to come in for high school. So it'll probably be another 2 years after this cycle that any of this will become relevant. So if 2 years from now, so 2022, 2021 actually would be when you'd roll over into it. No, I don't know. Math is hard, and I do a lot of it sometimes. But anyway, this will give you kind of an idea of where we've come from and so on. But for those of you watching this right now, this is relevant to this season. So last season's glider, I had some trouble with it, with splitting the wings back here where along the flap split. In low ceiling flying, like up to about 25 feet, I didn't have any problems, but when I tried launching higher, wing flutter would take over and so on. I did find out though that I had sanded the wings a little too much, and John Hance, who designs these planes, actually intends for you not to do any sanding there. Maybe a little out at the tips, but not in here. There have been a number of improvements made to this year's design, so we'll talk about some of those. So some things I dinged this airplane on in the past. The fuselage is a little vulnerable. Now, I never broke mine, but I know a lot of people have trouble with that. In order to be very economical, he did some weird things with the grain on the tail that are not optimal. Those have been fixed this year. But the big thing that I'm going to show you that is kind of the hit it out of the park topic of this year's Guru gliders is, I kid you not, hollow carbon fuselages. Tapered hollow carbon ones. This is the only glider kit currently available for Science Olympiad gliders that has these, and it includes 4 of them, 2 different weights. I've actually been working on trying to acquire these in a quantity sufficient for this type of application. So far I'm failing, so John, you win this round. No, really. These are awesome. We use these in some of our other kits, and I think I figured out what the source is for these. It's still pretty difficult to get them in the necessary quantities. I just take my word for it that John's profit margins have taken a serious hit to be able to do this. Guru Engineering Tech is a 501c3. So there is that, but still, the bottom line is the cost to make each kit has risen substantially over what it was prior. Not horrifically so, but it does raise the cost, and from the source that I'm pretty sure that he's getting these from, based on the measurements I've taken, I'm pretty sure I know which source he's using, because I've put in an order for ones of roughly this spec. Yeah, that's some pretty intense stuff. The lead time is quite considerable, and that's actually why we scrapped the idea of trying to use tapered fuselages in our own kits. So anyway, without having gone through all of that, let's build a glider. I've read through the manual. I have not watched his video, but he has several videos that when you purchase the glider, you get an access code, and so you can go watch the video. But the bottom line is the instruction manual is quite well laid out. Takes actually from several things we've done. I know in the trimming, he includes dig out the part sheets here. I think they're in here. Yeah. There they are. So he includes something that I've not seen included in a glider kit before. These little guys here, the little strips, those are Gurney flaps for using Gurney flaps to trim your gliders. So, pretty cool stuff. I think he may be pulling off a video we did a while back, but regardless of that, pretty cool stuff. And like I said, this is the only kit I know of that includes those ready for you to go. So anyway, I will have to refer to a couple of things in here, but the bottom line is when I pop a wing out, the wood for the wings looks pretty good. All fairly lightweight, nothing too far out either direction. I do notice mine have picked up a little bit of a warp. I don't remember them having that when I did my initial unboxing of this, so that's on me. Bottom line is, thin wood like this will tend to do that. Now in my case, if you see it's twisted this way, we won't wash in on the right wing anyway, so if you're right-handed. So in my case, that's okay. These kits are very affordable. $33 I think is the price, and builds 4 airplanes, so definitely very good low cost. I would say, in my evaluation of starting out, the big thing is the wings on these airplanes are going to be more vulnerable than some of your others. So in a shock load environment, they're going to split right along here. So if you crash the airplane, you're going to have to repair that often. I know that from working with some kids recently that were building gliders similar to this based off of ours in terms of the all-wood wings. Flaps were splitting on a regular basis. So what you do is you take this wing, you split it right there, and actually I've kind of jumped the gun. We do need to build our dihedral gauge first. So the way we do that, get this guy, get a little notch in it. We'll explain what that's for in a minute, because I actually read the instructions for once. I talked to Dave Ziegler after I did the review for his kit, and he's like, so you didn't do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, oh, was that in the instructions? Yeah, I'm not good at reading instructions. So, I'll show, actually no, that shows up pretty good. So what you do is you set this thing down like that, and then you go ahead and build out a wing pylon. So take these take two of these curved pieces. There's there's enough for 4 airplanes. Stick those together. And you only stick glue in the middle here. Like I said, I'm not sanding this. John specifically talks about you don't sand the wing. Let's set it down here. That. And I'm also going to put a dab of glue here. He shows a procedure by which you put wax paper over this, Remember that part about not following the instructions? Yeah, I meant that. Now what you do is basically you kind of split apart the wing, the leading edge and trailing edge here. And then you can squirt glue up in there, and so that allows you to press it down and get the curved. See how it's flat? Now it's curved. Pretty cool trick. So I'm just looking at you guys weird because I saw something flashing on the camera viewfinder. It's the battery. Maybe I should do something about that. So yeah, if you don't see me gluing this part, it's because the battery. Anyway, wing's done. So the wing is back. My wife is raiding the box to read the instructions, to tell me all the things I'm doing wrong, and I'm making the nose hook next. Now the nose hook design on these is interesting. Basically you glue these two pieces together. I kind of like my nose hook design better, but I've gotten really opinionated about nose hooks, so that's a story unto itself. Alright, so nose hook is made, and then the next thing we do is make the tail surfaces. So I'm going to pop a vertical stab out. See, they've got the grain going up and down, like it should be. I was incorrect. They are still doing diagonal on the horizontal tails, is what it is. It's nice wood, though. So I can definitely see justifying quite a lot given the issues we've had with supply on wood. So anyway, there are alignment keys and whatnot for this, but the bottom line is there are these two little marks right here, and you use those to line up the rudder. Personally, I would prefer them be tabbed or something like that, but that's, you know, what I did last year with the proteges, and we've actually moved away from that because of the strategy I use for assembling them. Again, personal opinion, personal preference, what have you. You know, I built this one last year and it worked out just fine. So, there are two different fuselages included. First of all, Hope informed me that I wasn't supposed to glue the rudder all along the way, only at the front and the middle, and leave the back free. I disagree with that, so veto. There's a reason, and it's that we tried that with proteges, or I saw other kids try it. I actually did kind of know better from the start, and just does not, it doesn't work. Alright, so we're going to put all the parts on here. See if we can balance the heavier fuselage on here to see if we want to use it or the lighter one. Stop that. Yeah. There we go. Alright, so that's 3.3. So we'll take one of the skinny fuselages, and I'll try to knock the box off the table and get dirty looks from my wife. And that one's at 3.05, so clearly that was the one to use, so we're using it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to assemble this guy. I need the directions because I need dimensions.
Some 18 centimeters from the front.
Metric? There are two kinds of countries. Those that use the metric system and those that have planted a flag on the moon.
Well, Science Olympiad uses metric, so.
Well, that's just messed up. I have to go get a metric ruler.
And he suggests a silver Sharpie.
Silver Sharpie Smarky.
So you can see it later.
Yeah, whatevs. Alright, how far from the rear?
From the front, 18 centimeters.
Oh, you would start... 18.
The largest end is the front.
Really? It is? I didn't know. Alright, 18 centimeters.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has been literally wiping the marks off of this thing. And the motion detector is still beeping and complaining. So all the way back there. 18 centimeters. Now is that to the front of the pylon or to the back of the pylon?
Hold on, let me get back
I'm
there.
guessing it's to the back of the pylon. Unless he's going full Bill Gowan on me. Bill Gowan uses really long noses. I tried it. Didn't work out so well for me.
So the rear edge is lined with the 18 centimeter mark.
Ah! Okay. So, he's not going full Bill Gowan. Now, I'm assembling this in the wrong order because my wife is giving me the measurements in the wrong order. So what you're supposed to do is assemble the tail and then use this guy to balance it to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it the opposite way. Which side does the this is just turning into a mess.
Okay, so from the back is 1.5 centimeters.
Alright. The bottom line is we hold this wingtip up like this. I am going to make a guess as to okay. Yeah, that looks like about 1.5 centimeters. Sure. Not that important. Mainly because if you can't tell, it's late and I am...
And glue the stabilizer on the fuselage forward of the rearmost 1.5 centimeter mark.
Since I don't have a silver pen, I'm not making marks. But anyway, that is fairly closely aligned. Now optimally, if you're gluing to nice carbon like this, you do kind of want to rough up the surface with sandpaper and whatnot. I don't know if that's mentioned in there, I don't think it is, but we actually do tend to do that, but this is good enough. And then the last thing you do, and that's a nice fuselage. I'm really jealous he was able to pull that off. The last thing you do is you just glue this nose hook to the I got that part.
Okay.
This is one of the few parts where I'm, following instructions and stuff.
Okay.
Which is probably not even true. I'm trying, I promise. Now the grain direction on these nose hooks, I don't know why it is the way it is, because if you're flying these pretty heavily, they're going to get broken. By the way, one of the things I've found with Science Olympiad gliders is a lot of the higher, more successful teams are going to invitationals constantly. And I was wondering why I'm getting emails from teams, I'm out of gliders, I need to buy more before this next invitational. It's because they're going to invitationals constantly, so they're literally just destroying gliders, like right and left. Now, the airplane should be about 3.1 grams now after I've gone completely glue happy with it. I didn't go completely glue happy, so it was 3.05 before I attached everything. Now it's 3.075, so not bad. So there's a baggie of parts in here that includes the catapult and all that. I'm not going to go into the catapult or anything because, and there goes the box trying to go everywhere. So, wow, that is a Ziploc bag that literally does not want to come open. I've never... Looks that way, don't it? Alright. Where does it say to put the starting CG, or does it?
They do. Hold on, let me go back here. The glider's initial center balance should be at the 18 centimeter mark on the fuselage.
Ah, okay. So back of the pylon, just like on a protege. And these use sticky tack for nose weight. We'll stick a limited amount on there. I'm actually going to recommend you wrap that around the front a little bit to give you some impact resistance. Still tail heavy. One nice thing about sticky tack is you don't have to put down glue or anything to get it attached to the wood. It bonds immediately. Now I'm nose heavy. I don't know how I feel about sticky tack. It is weird material. It's completely outside my knowledge base. It seems to work, so there's that. J&H Aerospace review videos are full of stupid shenanigans. Alright. Here's what we want to know at the end of the day, though, is what does it weigh, balanced and ready to fly? It's 3.6 grams, so it's definitely nice and light, not super light. I'm actually a little surprised it ended up that heavy. You could sand the tail surfaces quite a bit, and that would save you weight back here and then weight up front, because that's almost 0.55, roughly 0.54 grams of nose weight, which is quite a bit, although Super Protégés use that much. But Super Protégés also have wing area like crazy. And that's why we can have a 4-point-something gram glider competing against 3-gram gliders and winning, which I have seen in person. It's kind of strange and surreal. Anyway, we'll give this a test glide here. And it floats pretty good. Actually, this is stalling a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll run it harder. Yeah, it is definitely over elevated. Now the instructions are going to tell you to then glue gurney flaps to the back, which we will do. The one catch is, now when you do that, you're shifting the CG back because you're adding weight back here. So what we'll do is we'll crack one of these out of here. And I'm going to put it on the right side. I'm trying to use as little glue as possible. I'm failing at that. So there's your huge gurney flap. That's probably too large, but we'll find out. It may not be. So, still stalling a little in the glide. So, let's see what happens when I throw it harder. Oh, it's pitching way up. So we'll do that on the other side then. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright, we'll do one more glide test here. And it's gliding much better. Okay, so we'll do some flying footage at some point, but I do want to show one last comparison. This is kind of a weird comparison to make, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to skew this wing here. This is an old Protégé Light, actually the prototype if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the wing chord is a little bit narrower on this guy. So it is a little bit light on wing area out towards the tips. Tapering it out there, though, does help you mitigate wing flutter when you've got a a plain sheet wing. So don't know how this is going to do on flutter. We may now the instructions. I didn't see it in the written instructions, but I know that John does suggest putting tape across here, and that does help suppress flutter a little bit on these. So we may try that if it gets wonky there. But bottom line is, has decent wing area, builds to a good low weight. So things I like and dislike so far. There is some flutter to be dealt with there. So if you're launching in a higher site like 35 feet, I think you're going to have trouble there. Carbon fuselages are awesome. These are the best ever. I still am not a big fan of the diagonal on here. I think that you could mitigate needing so much gurney flap by fixing the geometry on this to rotate the wing back down a little bit. I think that would, well, I know that would help. I don't know how it would deal with launches. I've seen Bill Gowan play that game and have some issues there. And then my last critique is I kind of like a nice interlocking nose here, with the grain running this direction, so that when you crash, because you're gonna crash, there's less maintenance to be done up front. On the Proteges, I don't know, that's the only thing I have to compare to. Their noses gradually get kind of beaten down, but it takes a long time to completely destroy their noses. The other thing is bumpers are now a thing for noses, which really prevents shock throughout the airplane, prevents splitting across here, for example, and so on. But the bottom line is 4 airplanes for I think $33 or something like that is a killer price. So check out the Guru glider for 2019-2020, and we'll see you at the flying field. Hi, I'm Josh Finn. This is Hope. We are J&H Aerospace.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
Also, how about subscribe to our channel and check out jhaerospace.com for new free flight products and all of the tooling that you'll need to build them.
Thanks for watching.